Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
Today on Around Kansas, we start with a look at tuberculosis, also known as consumption and the White Death, and how it affected the state in the 1900s. Then on a lighter note, learn who the 2016 Kansas Music Hall of Fame inductees are. Next, enjoy a poem from Ron Wilson, and we'll end with a trailer from a new documentary titled Thof's Dragon. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road. Good morning, I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And this is Around Kansas. I don't know why it's running through my head, but I don't know if you remember Don McNeil's Breakfast Club. Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers. Good morning to ya.
No.
You don't?
So,
okay.
no.
Well, see,
So.
well, I'm showing my age. No, the Don McNeil Breakfast Club was on radio for many, many years. And, of course, my dad worked for Santa Fe, so we went to Chicago a lot, and that's where the broadcast came from.
Neat.
And we went to the Breakfast Club, Don McNeil's Breakfast Club, once when I was a kid. And they really did march around a breakfast table, because all of the people that were the actors and announcers and all that were on the dais and, up front. And then they would have the first call to breakfast, and it was march around the breakfast table. So you got to march around and come back and sit down. And it was kind of like the radio version of the Today Show in many ways.
So they would have guests and interview them.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And then it'd be the second call to breakfast, and then you'd march around the breakfast table. It was really cool. And I mean, that was a long time ago, because I'm old. And I still remember that like I did it last week.
Sort of like a crazy Rotarian morning meeting.
So, good morning, Breakfast Clubbers.
we could do that. We could, call everybody to breakfast. Actually, I was thinking it was more like romper room, Frank. Romper room for old people. That's what it
With
sounds
Miss
like.
Nancy, romper room. Yeah.
I see you. Gosh, didn't you always wait for her to say your name? I see through my little magic mirror or whatever it was. I can see you.
Yes, anyway.
Yeah. We're on early in the morning. We could do something, or, around the barn or something. We could do, yeah.
I have a tape of a Breakfast Club show. I'll have to play it.
I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
Love to hear that. So what kind of people did they interview? Like local celebrities?
Local celebrities. I mean, well, of course, Chicago was second city then, and you would have big stars come through. I mean, Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby. And
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So,
Sort of like when I have my radio talk show, same thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Same thing, but different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but see, a lot of those radio shows were done from large studios. And of course, this was ABC in Chicago. That's where they were based. And so of course, this was before television too. So they had a lot of studios, and this one happened to be kind of a penthouse kind of studio. If you've been at the top of the tower here in Topeka, it was very much like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So it was cool.
Very nice.
Morning, Breakfast Clubbers.
Well, I've enjoyed this trip down memory lane. How about you folks?
They're probably asleep, so we'll be good.
We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Buffalo Bill Cody earned his legendary title in Oakley. Bring the family and come celebrate Oakley's pioneering history and unique geography at two sites, the Buffalo Bill Cultural Center and the Fick Fossil Museum. Cody's statue marks his achievements and welcomes visitors to the Cultural Center. The Fick Fossil Museum houses world-class fossils and artifacts. You'll find Oakley at the hub of U.S. Highways 83 and 40 and I-70. Stop for the legend. Stay for the day. Discover Oakley. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Okay, we're back again, and I will settle down. We have some good stories to talk to you about here today.
Yeah, this first one is serious, but I've got to tell you, we're going to talk about how just a century ago, because, you know, I'm all about history, and I don't remember this. Unlike Frank, who remembers these actual occurrences, I don't remember this. When TB was such a rampant problem around the world, still is in many countries, but in America it is truly a problem. And I come across that on a lot of things, you know, when I'm researching. I come across a lot of references. Going again in the Wayback Machine to when I was a child, I remember my grandpa's going to a sanatorium because they thought he had TB. It turned out he had been a coal miner for 18 years, so it turned out it was only scar tissue. But I can remember how devastating that was for the family because in those days they associated a TB diagnosis with a death sentence. Mm-hmm. Because they had seen so many people die from the disease. And thankfully, you know, I mean, we fight cancer, you know, we fight all these other things. But the progress in our lifetimes in fighting TB is incredible. It's just incredible, you know, and so many polio, you know, in our lifetimes. That's just turned around. I mean, I have a lot of friends and relatives who are just, barely older than I am, that did not have the inoculations that I had. And so you can remember what the world was like before those things. Yeah. So this is a pretty important story.
Yeah.
It was called consumption because the disease seemed to consume its victims. They dropped weight, coughed, hacked, and became walking shells of themselves. One of the most famous sufferers was John Henry Doc Holliday, who came west in the hopes that the dry air would offer some relief. Tuberculosis, TB, the White Death. A diagnosis of the disease was virtually a death sentence a mere century ago. Cases of TB have been recorded since ancient times, and because of the way it ravaged the body and its infectious nature, it even became associated with vampire lore. Tuberculosis ravaged America. Pulmonary tuberculosis, the manifestation of the disease in the lungs, was most commonly recognized. It was such a widespread and devastating disease that states built sanatoriums, long-term hospitals, to treat patients and halt the spread of the disease. While some people viewed the sanatoriums as mere holding facilities where people waited to die, or just a way to isolate them from society, the bed rest, breathing treatments, and medicines did help many patients regain their health and return to their families. The Norton State Tuberculosis Sanatorium opened in 1914, and the Hillcrest Hospital in the Highland Park community of Topeka became affiliated with the facility. These hospital complexes would be comparable to the Veterans Administration hospitals that many of us are familiar with today. The hospitals maintained their own farms and dairies and stressed healthy diet as part of the treatment. Weight gain was a measure of recovery. Records say the Norton facility resembled a small city. It has since been converted to the Norton Correctional Facility. Vaccinations and increased understanding of the spread of the disease has largely controlled its impact in Kansas today, though health officials remain vigilant and monitor cases of TB very closely.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Person who's involved in ag production, cattle ranching, Bill Rischel here in North Platte, told me about Kansas regenerative medicine. And after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. I thought that was a very good approach. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, played overseas after college, had some severe trauma on the right ankle, right knee, joint in my hand also. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. My knee doesn't bother me. This joint came around quick. It was the first thing I noticed improving. You can see in the background here there's different fish and game that I hunt. The ability to walk was impacting my outdoor endeavors. I think it's really valuable, and encourage anybody that's interested to go down and at least do a consultation.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a site today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fightingest fort in the West. This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. And good morning again. This is Around Kansas. I'm Frank, and she's Deb, and you're not.
And aren't you glad?
And Chevy Chase, I am not. So anyway.
Fun story now.
Yeah.
Kansas Music Hall of Fame.
Well, and you know, the late Bill Lee really was quite farsighted in setting up the Music Hall of Fame, because as we know, if you've watched the show over the years we've been on, we've talked about a lot of the musicians that are from Kansas. And so it was only right and fitting to have a Music Hall of Fame.
And God bless Bill for creating that, making it all happen.
Yeah.
And the inductees, many of whom I've been blessed to know, like Alan Blasco, who's the president. He's being inducted this time, and I know some of the others. One that I have not met yet, though we featured him, is Samuel Ramey. And Samuel Ramey is from Colby. And so if you recall, we did a segment on the museum in Colby that has a beautiful exhibit on Samuel Ramey. And if you get a chance to hear that man perform, my God, it is just incredible, as are all these musicians.
Yeah.
Just what an incredible pool of talent we have.
Yeah, and you know, we're kind of behind because the Hall of Fame hadn't been around that long, and so you're going to have to put a lot of people in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, fortunately we got a lot of people, a lot of talented people to induct.
And there are a lot of them being inducted this year, and that's what my story is all about. So let's take a look. Alan Blasco, president of the Kansas Music Hall of Fame, has announced the inductees for 2017. Induction and concert will be held March 4 at Liberty Hall in Lawrence. The 2017 Kansas Music Hall of Fame inductees are Bill Bergman, Kansas City; Elk River Biscuit and Gravy Band, Emporia; the Smart Brothers, Wichita; Stonewall, Kansas City. The Bill Lee Award goes to Trampled Underfoot from Kansas City. The Director's Award goes to Alan Bell of America's Best Attractions, Kansas City. The Director's Award goes to Caribe of Lawrence. And the Bob Hapgood Award goes to Samuel Ramey of Colby. Performing at the induction ceremonies will be the Elk River Biscuit and Gravy Band, Bill Bergman, the Smart Brothers, and Stonewall. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster and at the Liberty Hall box office. The Kansas Music Hall of Fame was founded in 2004 by the late Bill Lee to honor musicians and those in the industry that have made contributions in all genres to the rich musical heritage of Kansas and the Kansas City metro area. Among the past honorees are Dwayne Bailey, a veteran of Bob Seger's Silver Bullet Band, and Chicago, the band Kansas, Martina McBride, Melissa Etheridge, and Count Basie. A special hotel rate is offered to attendees at the Lawrence Doubletree Inn, and the traditional Unplugged Jam on Friday night prior to the induction will be held at the Doubletree. This segment brought to you by the Arab Shrine Circus, coming to the Kansas Expo Center February 17th through the 19th. For ticket information, visit ArabShrineCircus.com.
It's Shrine Circus time! Enjoy a weekend of thrills, chills, and tons of fun at the Kansas Expo Center, February 17th, 18th, and 19th. See our tigers, our elephants, our high-in-the-sky acrobats, and watch a man shoot out of a cannon. Kids, Johnny Rocket, everyone's favorite, is back. For more information, visit www.arabshrinecircus.com. And be sure to thank our corporate sponsor, Security Benefit, the Arab Shrine Circus. Don't you dare miss it.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Being thrifty is a virtue. My kids might say that I'm cheap, but of course that all depends on what the cowboy wants to spend money on. This poem is entitled The Bargain. My wife and I went to the big city some time back. I stopped by the Western store to price some tools and tack. I need another pitchfork, but I sure said no dice when I saw they were charging a $18 price. That's way too much, I said, and we went on down the road, because I thought I'd find a bargain in an ad the paper showed. Our farm paper advertised a used tool and equipment sale, where I figured I could get a bargain without fail. It was part of an auction scheduled on a Saturday soon. The equipment sold in the morning, and the horse sale was at noon. So I bid on a pitchfork when we went over to the sale and got it for $8, less than half the price retail. I was proud of myself and my wise and thrifty ways when that auction entered into its next and final phase. The horse sale had begun, and the very next thing, the most beautiful quarter horse was led into the ring. A gorgeous 15-hand gelding. His color was bay, with great breeding lines registered by AQHA. The owner gave a glowing talk about his many strengths. To have that horse, I realized I'd go to any lengths. So in spite of my wife whispering in my ear, I raised my hand and caught the attention of the auctioneer. And then before I hardly realized just what I did, I ran her up and finally got the winning bid. I put that horse in the trailer, and we drove to the home place, but I didn't like the look I saw upon my dear wife's face. I could tell I was seriously on my wife's bad list. I finally said, "Hon, I'm sorry, I just could not resist." I knew she was suffering buyer's remorse from the $4,000 I'd spent on that horse. I said, "I guess I'm sorry for the way I behaved, but don't forget that pitchfork and the $10 that we saved." Well, it took a while, but my wife has finally forgiven me. She says I am a poster child for false economy. Happy trails.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again. Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com. Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Back again. I don't know why, but now I've got another silly song going through my head, and that's Puff the Magic Dragon.
Because we're talking about
We're going to do a dragon story, yeah.
Thoth's dragon.
The magic. Oh, never
Not
mind.
Puff. Thoth, not Puff.
What is it? It's
Thoth. Theophilus Turner, so Thof, Thof was Theophilus Turner's nickname.
Okay.
And so Theophilus Turner, who was post surgeon out at Fort Wallace in 1867, like many soldiers, he was bored out of his gourd, and so he goes out and he finds this fossil, this plesiosaur. So with the help of Brenda Thof, who is art teacher at Sharon Springs High School, oh my gosh, Brenda grew up there. She's so talented, and she is doing the film work. Dr. Jake with a lot of our friends reenacting. Carson Norton is Theophilus Turner. When I first saw him dressed as a surgeon, army surgeon from that era, I about cried because he looks just like him. It was incredible. Ethan Riggs is our Medicine Bill Comstock, who was the scout. And so we are in the middle of production, but we've got a little snippet to show you, and I'm thrilled about it.
We all sympathize with you and your afflicted family, sir, in this, your sudden and terrible loss and profound grief. For we too had learned to love the deceased for his many good qualities of heart as well as of mind. Still, we are overwhelmed with sorrow at the sundering of the warm social ties that bound us to him.
This man he speaks of is my son, Dr. Theophilus Turner, Assistant Surgeon, U.S. Army. I missed too much of my son's life. For reasons only I truly understood, I withheld communication with him for a time while he was stationed at Fort Wallace, Kansas. I regret those lost moments, and it is only in his death that I am truly understanding the type of man he had become. A man of great character, a talented and compassionate physician, a young man with a spirit of adventure, combined with an intellectual curiosity to always learn more. Yet, a man with strong convictions and an undying love for his family. In his many letters, he wrote of an important discovery he made on the plains of Kansas. However, he was never recognized for his tremendous contribution. He wrote of his adventures in those letters, and now I cling to those last words. This is a journey I need to take. A journey to discover my son.
Hey, we're done again already. I'm Frank.
I'm Deb.
And we'll see you somewhere
Around
Kansas.
Welcome to Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agamandkansas.com.